Hey guys, so I'm here today to film a review, first impression, and wear test on the Revolution Conceal and Hydrate Radiance Foundation with hyaluronic acid. It says medium to full coverage on it. I also have the matching concealer. I saw Taylor Wynn do a review on this and I need to try it out for my own personal dry ass skin. I have dry skin. It's really more normal to dry, but because it's the winter in Canada here, I have dry skin. And I love a glowy foundation. I picked this up off of Beauty Bay because you can't get Revolution Pro in Canada and shipping from Ulta is expensive. So Beauty Bay comes from the UK and I believe this was about $9 there, and I think the concealer was like $7 or something, so like super inexpensive. And Beauty Bay does their prices in Canadian, like converts the prices to Canadian for you so you can see how much you're actually paying in Canadian, which I love. Before I get into this video, you should subscribe to my channel every Tuesday and Thursday. And I mean, you're already here. Just push the button. Did you push it? So before I get into the wear test, I kind of wanted to just go through what this foundation's claims are. Now, based on the bottle here, it says it is, has hyaluronic acid and is a medium to full coverage foundation. The description on Ulta says that it is specifically formulated to suit every skin type and tone, but it's particularly beneficial for dry skin, obviously. With hyaluronic acid, it offers all-day radiance and glow without settling into fine lines or clinging to dry patches. Housed in a luxe glass bottle with a new pump applicator for added control, this foundation offers medium to full coverage. So this is the packaging. I really like it. It's pretty simple. The glass bottle is kind of frosted glass, but the logo is so big, you literally can only see it in this bottom tiny section. It has a rose gold cap, and yes, it has a pump. The pump pumps out a pretty decent amount, and this is a, I would say a pretty liquidy formula, which I personally like. Sometimes I find thicker formulas are harder to spread out, so I like a liquid formula because it is easier to kind of just spread all over my face with ease. And the concealer just has your regular doe foot applicator. And it does have a pretty decent sized doe foot applicator, which is nice because Shape Tape has kind of made us all want a giant doe foot applicator so we can just throw it all over our face and be done with it. So now that we know what the foundation is supposed to do, let me insert a clip of the application. You guys can see how it applies. So I started this before I hit record, so don't judge me, but we've applied this to our face. I primed with the Smashbox Photo Finish Primer Water because it's a pretty basic primer, and yeah, we're just gonna blend. It looks like a pretty decent match for my skin, and we're using a beauty blender because that's the only thing I ever use. Oh. Okay, upon first application, I'm living for this glow. Okay, so this is one layer of the foundation, and honestly, I'm really liking it. I think the shade might be a little bit too dark for me, but this is F2, and I'm sure if I bought F1, it would be too light for me. So I usually like to kind of play it safe and go with F2 because F1, it's easier to make a slightly dark foundation work than it is to make a ghostly foundation work. But let me zoom you guys in just to show you the amount of glow on my face. Remember, I'm just wearing like a primer water, so like nothing wild, but holy balls. Also, the coverage is pretty decent. This is listed as a medium to full coverage, and I would definitely say this is like a medium coverage foundation. I'm gonna take a little bit more, just like, oh wow, that's probably too much. So I just kind of took that much more on my finger, and I just want to add it to some areas where I feel like I need more coverage. Like usually for me, it's around my jawline. Honestly, I don't even know if I need any coverage anywhere else. I don't want to add too much because I don't want this to get cakey, and I have a habit of putting too much foundation on. It's kind of my thing. Okay, yeah, that's definitely building. And I can see, I don't know if you can tell, but it looks a little bit lighter where I just applied it, so this does oxidize slightly. But damn. Okay, I'm like shook by this foundation. I have used Revolution foundations before and I have never liked them, so this looks gorgeous. I also have the Revolution Conceal and Hydrate Concealer in the shade C2, which is cool toned, which is right up my alley, so we're gonna try that one today too. But I'm only going to use it under my eyes because I don't want to affect how the foundation looks anywhere else, and I don't have any blemishes or anything right now, so I think I should be fine to just do the under eyes. It feels like it feels like it's already kind of glowy and hydrating. I'm gonna let that set down for a minute just so it gets a little bit more coverage, and then we're gonna blend. I also really like the tone of this foundation, or this concealer. It might be a smidge too light for me, but I think it'll be fine, and it's actually pink tone. A lot of pink tone concealers I find are more, they're just not yellow, they're more neutral, but this feels actually pink. Okay, let's blend. Okay, while that is brightening, I don't think it's, I mean, I'm used to using Shape Tape, so for me it's not as concealing, so I'm gonna take a little bit more and just put it right in that darkest part of my under eye. Like literally just a dot. Okay, that definitely helped. Okay, so far so good. I'm gonna finish the rest of my face and I will be back to show you guys what it looks like once everything is done. Okay, so this is what the foundation looks like with everything on. It did feel a little tacky, so I set it with my MAC Merlin Skin Finish Natural in Light Plus because I knew I wouldn't be able to blend anything over top of it if I didn't. It's now 10:47, but I checked, and when I finished my actual foundation application, it was 10:30, so we'll call the check-in time 10:30. And honestly, I think it looks really gorgeous. It looks a little heavy in some places. That could be because I did do 2 layers. I'm kind of like quintessential for putting on too much foundation. I tried not to today, but you can see that it looks super glowy. I did set my face with my MAC Fix Plus and my Urban Decay All Nighter Setting Spray, just because neither of those I find really affect the finish of the foundation, and I set with those every single day anyways, so it's not really a big deal. But let me give you guys a zoom in so you guys can see kind of what we're working with. So as you can see, we're super glowy. It does look a little heavy kind of in the chin area, but like you only can tell if you look this close because you're this close. Otherwise the glow kind of hides it. I did set the concealer with my Fenty powder, which kind of mattifies it, but that's just how I set my under eyes. We are settling into my fine lines. Now this foundation does say it doesn't settle into fine lines, but like it's a lie. But overall, okay, this is a highlighter, but all of the other glow you see is like this cheek glow, not a highlighter. This highlighter, like so glowy. I will say the foundation did oxidize a bit on me. It is a little bit too dark. I applied some bronzer to kind of help blend it, but as you can see, it's definitely darker than my chest, although I would be worried that the lighter foundation is probably lighter. Why is my nose itchy? But overall, I think it's gorgeous. And it's settling into my fine lines in my forehead like every foundation does that. I'm only kind of knocking points off for it because this says it doesn't settle into fine lines, but like if you have a fine line, foundation is going to settle into it. Same with concealer, that's just how it works. But overall, I think this looks beautiful. So like I said, check-in time is 10:30. I'm going to go to the mall with my friend, run some errands today, and I will do a 10-hour wear test. So I'll be back in 5 hours. If I'm not back home, I'll just film it on my phone, and then again in 10 hours. But overall, I think this foundation is gorgeous. I love the glow. It's giving me like Fenty vibes, but it's not as full coverage as Fenty. And I definitely think Fenty's probably a little bit glowier, but also sometimes I think the Fenty can be too glowy, so I'm feeling this foundation like a lot. So if you want to see how this wears throughout the day, then keep watching. Hello, it is 2:50. So normally I do a check-in at 5 hours and 10 hours, but 10 hours is gonna be at 8:30 and I'm going to the movies tonight. So I'm gonna do a check-in now, which is like at 3, and then I'll do one right before I leave tonight, and then I'll do one when I come home from the movies. So you're gonna get a longer wear test, but I don't wanna just do one at 3:30 and then at like 10 or 11, because like that'll be too late. Also, I had a sub for lunch and my lipstick is on my chin, so let me just kind of fix that. So yeah, it's 3 o'clock, so it's been 4.5 hours on my face. And it still looks really pretty and glowy. A little heavy in some areas, but overall, I'm not mad at it. It definitely is too dark for me. I went shopping with my best friend and the first thing she said to me was, "You look tanned." And I was like, oh, that's because my foundation's too dark. So that's how I know it's too dark. But other than that, I'm not mad about it. I'll give you a zoom. So chin, I got lipstick on there and just had to kind of like rub it in. So that's it's a little heavy kind of on my upper lip. But like my forehead looks so glowy and beautiful, and like everywhere else looks fine. Like it's totally acceptable. My nose rubbed off a little bit because I got changed before I actually went out, and I put on a halter top, which I then changed out of, but it like totally rubbed my face, rubbed my nose, and got lipstick on my chin, so shit happens. But I'm not mad at this, to be honest. Like I said, it's a little thick, a little heavy in some areas, but that could just be because I probably just need to maybe put one layer on. And also probably if I wore this with like a more hydrating primer, it wouldn't be bad. But again, I always say like no one looks at your foundation like this closely. So like if I kind of hold my mirror back and look from this far and think it looks good, that's good enough for me, because no one should be that close to your face. Except for your loved ones, and they shouldn't give a fuck what your foundation looks like. So 4.5 hours in, we're looking good. We're still looking glowy. I'm here for it, to be honest. Oh, also, I met my best friend at the mall and I was trying on bras in Victoria's Secret, and I don't know if it's just my mall or if it's just me, but when I go to the mall, I sweat like nobody's business. Like it is 1,000 degrees in there. Trying on bras is exhausting. Makes me sweaty and gross. I'm just a sweaty person. And so I was sweaty and gross. So the fact that this still looks this good is a miracle. And I was trying on bras, so I took the shirt off a couple times. You know, I'll call it a win. So I'll be back here probably around 6:30 to do another check-in before I leave, and then I'll come back at the end of the night and show you guys how we look. Look at this baby. Look at this cat. She loves me. Booby, can you look at the people? You're so cute. Okay, it is 6:15. Can you see that? So this has been on for almost 8 hours. Not a whole lot has changed since my last check-in. I am going to apply a little bit of foundation right on my chin because, like I said, I am going out. Things are looking a little bit glowier, but like not anything that like I'm upset about. And it hasn't gotten really any cakier anywhere else. I kind of feel like it's gotten a little bit like oilier, which has made it look less cakey, if that makes sense. So I'm just gonna take a little smidge. And I'm just going to I just put a little bit on the back of my hand, and I am going to just kind of touch up my chin. Well, I probably should have zoomed you guys in first, but I'll show you after this. So like it reapplied over that really easily, honestly. So let me just give you guys a zoom. So the chin is fresh. Everything else is been on since 10:30. My forehead looks like pretty glowy. It hasn't sunk into my lines any more than I would expect. And yeah, it looks pretty decent. So other than that, that's my check-in really. I'll be back at the end of the night to give you guys a little other update. I might just press out the lines in between my forehead or in between my brows, just, you know, while I'm touching up. That didn't really do anything. I never touch up my makeup, if I'm being honest with you, so yeah. That is my 8-hour check-in. I'll be back in a couple hours after I go watch Bad Boys, and I will update you on how we're making out. Okay, it is 10:30, so this has been on for 12 hours. And the verdict is basically, I like it. I'd try it again. I'd wear it again. It's a nice foundation. I'd probably try mixing it with a foundation lightener just because I do think it's a little dark for me, but I like it. I like the finish. I think it's beautiful. I mean, right now we're looking a little cakey and separated, but it's been on for 12 hours, so I expect nothing less. I'm not really gonna give you a zoom because not much has happened since my original check-in, but like based on the information from the foundation, it's medium to full coverage, it's radiant, it felt hydrating, like my skin doesn't feel dry at all. I didn't think it like clung to anywhere. I really like this foundation. The concealer, I'll probably have to play around with a little bit more just because I love Shape Tape way too much. But I did think it was a bad concealer. It's just not as full coverage as Shape Tape, but for a hydrating concealer, it was nice. I mean, I set it with, I like lightly baked it with the Fenty powder, so like how hydrating it was, I couldn't really tell because I always like lightly bake my under eyes, so that's just who I am as a person. But this foundation, I really liked it, and it's super inexpensive, and you know, I haven't really been impressed by a lot of drugstore foundations lately. I think I'm becoming a Sephora snob when it comes to foundation. But this one, she impressed me, and I'll definitely be keeping this on like my makeup table and using this. My only issue with it is that it is too dark. Probably the next time I place an order from Beauty Bay, I might try to get the lightest shade, because then at least, even if it is too light, I can just mix them, because this is too dark and that won't be probably too light. But yeah, I don't know if you can tell like how too dark it is based on the whiteness of my chest, but like right now it doesn't look too bad, but like in the world it feels a little dark. So yeah, that's my only qualm, and it is because I think it oxidized. So I do wish they made some lighter shades. As with most foundations, there's never a light enough shade for me, but I really like this foundation, and I think that if you have dry skin, you like a glowy foundation, you should definitely check this one out. It's super inexpensive, and it did what it said it was going to do, and that's what I'm here for. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know down below what you thought about it, like if you liked the way it looked to my skin, and also if you tried this foundation. Also any other like drugstore foundations that are like nice glowy foundations. I do want to try the NYX, is it Born to Glow? I've heard that one's really good. Thank you guys for watching. I'll talk to you next time. Bye!